Manchester United pushing to sign Matias Tel from Bayern Munich. Double medical has been booked. And will Garnacho stay at the club this window? These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's show. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner, and be sure to like the video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. Right. So before we get into the show, I want to ask you a little question, as always, to try and get a bit of conversation going. And the question is about Garnacho. Have you seen a difference in Garnacho's performances over the last 2 or 3 games? And as a result of that, would you keep Garnacho at Manchester United at all costs? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Is there a price that you would sell him for? Or would you just walk away from this deal now? Obviously, we know that Napoli and Chelsea are still interested. The fee that's being mentioned is only 55 million euros, which I'm going to be honest is a joke. I think that's less than £50, 50 million pounds, not £50. So yeah, I want to know your thoughts on this. Would you sell Garnacho? Would you keep him? I'm going to start my show off by talking about that myself, so I will answer the question too. I think something's happened in the last 2 or 3 games. Like a switch has clicked and he suddenly looks like he suits this system. He came off the bench yesterday and completely changed that game alongside Ahmad. And without him, I just don't think we have any attacking flair at all at the moment. Yes, he's a bit greedy sometimes. Yes, he can be wasteful, but he is only 20 years of age. And for us to potentially be selling our best attacking player, I know Ahmad's done well this season, but over the last couple of years, statistically, Garnacho has been putting out the best goals and assists, hasn't he, for us? So, yeah, I think it would be very disappointing now if Manchester United were to sell Garnacho, especially if the replacement's going to be Patrick Dorgu, who, let's be honest, I think he's got 3 goals in his whole career. I know he plays in a slightly different position, but you know, there's this obsession with Patrick Dorgu that he's going to come in as a left wing back, when most of the time this season at Lecce he's played as a right wing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, but I would personally be very, very disappointed if they did now decide to sell Garnacho, especially for the type of money mentioned. If Chelsea were going to pay us like 100 million, then obviously great. That's something you would have to consider. But like the fee that's being mentioned this morning is that Napoli are only willing to pay about 45 million pounds still. I mean, we're about to pay, I think it's 30 million for Patrick Dorgu. Why would we sell Garnacho for 45 and then buy Dorgu for 30? That doesn't make much sense to me. Obviously, there's the story with Matias Tel as well, who we'll talk about in a minute. But if you compare the 2 players, Matias Tel and Garnacho, they're both a similar age, playing a similar position, and Garnacho's stats are levels better than Matias Tel's. So, yeah, hopefully we keep him at all costs. I was a little bit unsure about Garnacho a couple of weeks ago. I was concerned that he didn't suit the system. I was concerned about his game time. And I did maybe think that moving him on could have been the best option for all parties. But something's changed for me in the last couple of weeks. I think he has seemed to adapted into what Ruben Amorim wants. And for that reason, I've changed my opinion, which is completely fine. You know, you base your opinion off what you see. And what I saw 2 or 3 weeks ago was a player who was struggling for game time, was getting 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. When he did come on, he wasn't really taking the game by the head. And he looked a little bit lost. He looked a little bit frustrated. But suddenly in the last 2 or 3 games, he's been starting most games. And when he didn't start yesterday, you saw how poor we were. And then as soon as Ahmad and Garnacho were introduced, our level went from about here, which was about the same as FCSB, you know, pretty poor, to we're a Premier League side. We should be beating this team comfortably, you know? So, yeah, for me, I would keep Garnacho now. I think, you know, the window closes on Monday. If we do sell him, it's just going to be that we buy Matias Tel instead. And I wouldn't swap Matias Tel for Garnacho. Not a hope in hell. He's nowhere near the level of Garnacho at this point. Obviously, Matias Tel might go on to be better than Garnacho in the future. But at the moment, for me, Garnacho is way further ahead. And obviously, the most important thing with all of this is Garnacho is Premier League proven, whereas Matias Tel isn't. Matias Tel's only played a few minutes in the Bundesliga. He barely plays. So, yeah, Garnacho plays for the Argentinian national team. Matias Tel's never even played for the France national team. So when you look at all of the bits and bobs of this kind of whole final days of the window, I think Man United need to do everything they can to keep Garnacho now. Mainly because as well, you know, even if you do want Garnacho out, which some of you may, we're not going to have enough time now to get a suitable replacement. We've got today, Saturday, and Sunday, and then the window closes on Monday. So yeah, that's my take on that. But please do let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on Garnacho. Fred says, would the sale of Garnacho alter your opinion on Ruben Amorim? Not really. I don't think so. I think you've got to remember that Ruben Amorim is just the head coach. He's not actually a manager. So yeah, I don't think so. I don't think, like, the point I'm making is, if Manchester United sell Garnacho, we know that that's going to be the Glazers and Ineos who have pushed that deal through. Ruben Amorim wouldn't be starting Garnacho every game of the last couple of weeks if he wanted to sell him. I don't think so anyway. But you can let me know what you think in the comment section, obviously. Right, let's talk a little bit about Matias Tel then, shall we? Because the reports coming out this morning are suggesting that Tottenham have submitted a 50 million euros bid for Matias Tel. So that's obviously a massive amount of money. But apparently he hasn't decided if he wants to go there. I'm going to say this now, right? And this is maybe going to be a bit controversial, but this is going to come out pretty bad, actually. I actually think that in the grand scheme of things, going to a team like Tottenham is pretty much this, as a young player who has lots of options. You know, Chelsea are interested, Manchester United are interested, lots of clubs are interested in Matias Tel. Choosing to go to Tottenham, for me, is pretty much as bad as choosing to go to the Saudi League. And at least going to the Saudi League, you will get life-changing money for your family, for your children, for your children's children. So I can understand why people like Duran are going to the Saudi League, because they will earn money which is like money they never will have seen before. Remember, especially Duran, maybe not Matias Tel, but Duran as an example, came from Colombia, came from extreme poverty, supposedly. He's going to go to the Saudi League and earn, I think I read, over £400,000 per week tax-free. What's the difference between going to Saudi and going to Tottenham? You go to Tottenham, you play for a team who don't win anything, a team who see a successful season as finishing in the top 6, and a team who are literally only focused on money. I mean, that just sounds like Saudi to me, you know? And I get it, you'd be playing in the Premier League. I get that there's, you know, more people watch the Premier League and all the rest of it. But at the same time, you're effectively going somewhere where you know you're not going to win any trophies, because Tottenham don't win trophies. When was the last time Tottenham won a trophy? Let's have a look. Tottenham last won a trophy in 2008, and that was the what was then the Carling Cup. So they haven't won a trophy it'll be 17 years this year. I mean, the point I'm making here is, you see players like Son, right? Phenomenal player. Some might even say a world-class player. He's won literally nothing in his career. He's getting old now. He's going to retire having won nothing. Nothing at all. Let's have a look. I'm just checking if he has. Yeah, he's literally won nothing in his whole career, Son. Not a single trophy, and he's 32 years of age. And he could have, in my opinion, Son could have gone anywhere when he was at his peak. He could have gone Real Madrid. He could have gone Bayern Munich. He could have gone Barcelona. But he just decided to stay at Tottenham. I just honestly think that Matias Tel going to Tottenham is a waste of his career, especially as a permanent deal. If I was him, I would go on loan to the summer, come to a Manchester United or a Chelsea, not Tottenham. And then in the summer, you'll have loads of clubs interested and make a proper decision. But so this is the story. This has come out from multiple different people, that Tottenham have submitted a 50 million euros bid, which has been accepted by Bayern Munich. But apparently Matias Tel isn't convinced about the deal. So this is coming out from Fabrizio. Fabrizio's reporting, this was this morning, that Manchester United are now pushing for a loan of Matias Tel. He says the player has asked for a few more hours to talk to his family and agent before making a decision. So yeah, he's working out what he wants to do. But the fact that Bayern Munich have accepted Tottenham's bid and Matias Tel still hasn't given the green light to go there, that kind of says it all for me. The fact that he's not excited by the prospect of going to Tottenham. You know, the two clubs have accepted a deal, they've agreed a deal, but he still hasn't given the green light to go. That kind of says it all for me. And I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with my point. I know obviously Tottenham fans won't watch this channel, but I honestly think for a young player, a Duran, a Matias Tel, somebody like that, going to Tottenham is just as bad as going to the Saudi League. You know, when you look at the pros and cons, you win nothing at Tottenham, but yes, you play Premier League football. You go to Saudi, yes, it's not as competitive, but you'll earn probably 10 times the amount you'll earn in the Premier League. And money is obviously an important thing for some of these players, depending on what their backgrounds are, where they've come from, etc., etc. So I just think it's a waste if he goes to Tottenham. It would be a good signing for Tottenham, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see Tottenham winning anything. They're worse than we are at the moment, and that's saying something. You know, Manchester United at the moment, over the last 3 or 4 years, or let's say even over the last 10 years, right? Manchester United have been awful over the last 10 years. We've still won 2 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, I think. We've won a Europa League. Like, we've still won trophies, and we're in our worst ever spell. The last 2 or 3 years have been the most painful years as a Manchester United fan, and we've still won an FA Cup, a League Cup, and got to another FA Cup final in our worst spell. Whereas Tottenham have been, you know, at their best, playing amazing football, beating Real Madrid in the Champions League, and they've still won nothing in 17 years. But anyway, that's my take on that. So just to summarise, Tottenham have had a bid accepted, but Matias Tel hasn't given the green light to go. And Manchester United apparently now are pushing to sign him on loan. Apparently he wants to join Manchester United. That was reported a couple of days ago by reliable journalists saying that he wants to join Manchester United. So we'll see what happens there. Al says we can't match Spurs' offer. 50 million is too much for us. This is where I'm a little bit worried, because we could match Spurs' offer, but it would mean selling Garnacho, and I would not do that. Mark says Tal has stated publicly that he prefers United as he thinks he will get more game time there. Yeah, I agree. I think he will. Like, you look at our team versus even Tottenham, he will definitely get game time. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and drop a like. We've got over 400 people watching live now, which is amazing. I've set a likes target of 500 for this video, so go and do that right now. And be sure to subscribe as well. I've just dropped a link into the chat to subscribe. We're less than 10 away from 40,800, so go and subscribe right now. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think about this Matias Tel situation. Where do you think he'll end up? I honestly think it would be a bad decision for him to go to Tottenham, personally. But we'll see what the player decides. And as I said, the fact that Tottenham have had a bid accepted, but still the player hasn't agreed to go, that says it all for me. Because usually what happens in transfers is this, right? Usually the player and the club will kind of agree personal terms first, and then the club will approach the other club. You know, they'll verbally agree personal terms, because what's the point in agreeing personal terms with a player what's the point in agreeing a deal with a club if the player doesn't want to move? We did that with Frankie de Jong, didn't we? 3 seasons ago. We spent 3 months negotiating with Barcelona. We finally agree a deal with Barcelona. We then start speaking to Frankie de Jong's agent, and his agent says he doesn't want to join you. Do you remember? And that's effectively the same as what Tottenham have done here. Tottenham have approached Bayern Munich. They've said, we'll give you 50 million euros plus add-ons. Bayern Munich say, yes, great, let's do the deal. And then Matias Tel says, oh, I'm not sure if I want to go to Tottenham. Like, it's a bit of a strange way to do it, but I guess arguably because this transfer has kind of come out of nowhere and it's very last minute, I think clubs are probably having to just put their offer down and say, we want to sign you, make your decision and let us know. You know, so I think this is a little bit of a strange transfer, because until 2 days ago, Matias Tel was staying at Bayern Munich, and now he's suddenly leaving, you know, and Bayern Munich are trying to find a solution in the final days of the window. So I would like to see him at Manchester United. I think he'd be decent, but I'd be interested to know what you guys all think as well. Right, what else have we got? Ellen says, don't forget that Arsenal are interested in him as well. Yeah, Arsenal are interested, but obviously they're trying to sign Ollie Watkins, aren't they, as the priority. Al says, isn't Tal a prospect? Should we not be trying to buy a proven striker? I would agree. That's why I think we should do a loan. You know, I don't think paying 50 million euros for him is sensible at this point. He's not a 50 million euros player. Bayern Munich bought him 2 seasons ago for, I think it was 20 million euros, right? And since that point, he's barely played any football. I think this season he's only played about 200 minutes, if that. So I don't understand how he's gone from being a 20 million euros player, right? Last season, let's have a look how many minutes he played. Last season he played, he played quite a lot of minutes last season, to be fair, actually. In the Bundesliga, he played 1,000 minutes. He got 7 goals and 5 assists, which is pretty good, to be fair. That's like a goal or an assist every 90 minutes on average. And he got 2 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League. 16 goals and assists. So, yeah, I mean, he was averaging about a goal or an assist every 19 minutes last season. But this year, on the other hand, he's really, really struggled for game time. He's only played about 400 minutes and he's only got 1 goal. So, in the space of 2 years, he's only played about 1,500 minutes, which is 15 games in 2 years. And his price has somehow gone from 20 million to 50 million. That doesn't really add up to me. I mean, even if you look on Transfer Market, which is quite reliable for, player prices, they value him at 30 million euros. So, I mean, if Bayern Munich get 50 million euros for him, I reckon they'll be rubbing their hands, to be honest. That's almost double what they paid, more than double what they paid for him. They paid 20 million and they'll sell him for 50. And they bought him from, Stade Rennais in 2022. So, yeah, we'll see how that one progresses. I mean, yeah, we'll see. Let's see what people are saying in the chat quickly. Ginge says, clubs like Brighton are asking 100 million for Evan Ferguson, but we're only asking 45 million for Garnacho. Yeah, I mean, it's mental, isn't it? And yeah, just to be clear as well, I can see someone else in the chat saying, the reason that we're trying to sign Tel on loan is because of PSR, supposedly. We'd have to sell someone to buy him permanently. So, yeah. Okay, right. Let's move on from that, though, and let's move on to these medicals. So we can confirm that apparently Patrick Dorgu's medical is going to be tomorrow in Manchester. So that's really, really positive. And there is apparently a medical today. So we've obviously got one medical booked tomorrow for Patrick Dorgu. And then we also have a medical booked today for Aiden Heaven, which is the young player that we've just signed from Arsenal. Some people are saying that he's going to go straight into the first team. I'm not convinced by it, to be honest. I think it's maybe a little bit premature. He is only 18 years of age. He's only played 7 times this season for Arsenal's under-21s. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is going to go straight into the first team. But, yeah, apparently he's doing his medical today. And Patrick Dorgu will do his medical tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm excited. Excited to see what these two players can do. Both very young, both very talented. Definitely players for the future, maybe not players for now. But it's exciting to be signing these young players. Is it going to make us win the league this season, next season? No, probably not. But in the long run, it's good that we're seeing young players joining Manchester United, and it's good that our academy will keep building and getting better and better and better. So yeah, welcome to both of them, Patrick Dorgu, Aiden Heaven. Let's see what they can do. Maybe they are going to be first-team players. We'll see what happens there. I see people talking about Rashford in the chat, so we can talk about that quickly. I don't know what's going on with Rashford. The window closes on Monday. I have a feeling, right? I have a funny feeling that he could end up going to a Premier League team. I just have a feeling because there's going to be a mad flurry of deals in the final days of the window. We know that West Ham want a striker. We know that a couple of other teams in the Premier League want a striker. Maybe Aston Villa want a replacement for Duran. I'm not saying he's going to go on a permanent deal to these clubs, by the way. I'm just saying I would not be surprised if like a West Ham or a Villa come in with a loan deal for Rashford in the final days of the window. We'll wait and see. It's a strong possibility because at the moment, the story with Barcelona is that they can't afford him and the window closes on Monday. So I don't really see how they're suddenly going to get the money in the space of 2 or 3 days. Doesn't really make sense to me. But obviously we'll wait and see what happens with that. I see a lot of people talking about Rasmus Højlund in the chat. I thought Rasmus Højlund was a little bit better last night. I mean, he still wasn't good, but he was better than he was usually. So, I don't know. There was a really interesting story that Laurie Whitwell put out yesterday, actually, that I wanted to talk about. I think it was on his... I can't remember where I saw it, but anyway, Laurie Whitwell said that apparently Manchester United's number one priority for the summer is a striker. And I would agree. We need somebody who's going to score goals. And I know people will say, oh, he doesn't get opportunities and all the rest of it. I get that, but sometimes there's more to a game if you're a striker than just scoring goals. And obviously when Ronaldo was at Manchester United, right, we still didn't create any opportunities and he was still scoring goals for Manchester United. So I think it's a bit of a I get it. He doesn't get that much created for him, but he had a chance yesterday, Højlund, a great chance, and he didn't score. So, and if you look at Ronaldo's stats, right, in the season that he was here, was it 21, 22? Yeah, I think it was 21, 22, wasn't it? That season. Even though he was playing in a side that didn't create chances, he still got 18 goals, Ronaldo, in 30 matches. You know, Højlund, I think, got 7 goals last season in the Premier League in more matches. So, yeah, it's an easy excuse to say, oh, he doesn't get chances. But I think, you know, he still needs to improve massively. And I still think we need to sign a new striker. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the deal. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thank you very much for watching. I will go live later if anything breaks. Don't forget to drop a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all later. Bye for now.